Good morning, Facebook. Sunday morning, January 15th. This morning we're going to talk about Baker's cysts. I got a question the other day. I'll get to it in just a moment, but while we wait for some people to show up, we're gonna drink. I made my Jing drink, which is a bunch of Chinese herbs. It's kind of like a really thick hot chocolate, and it's designed to help rebuild my adrenals, which is good. 3 years ago, had pneumonia. Since then, it was like a real awakening moment. I was like, man, I got to do something about my health. I know how to get people out of knee pain, but in terms of my own health, I had to get my butt in gear. So I've been drinking this just about every morning since. And got a real nice routine that I do in the morning that keeps things pretty good. And what I find, and this is knee pain and anything else, is the routine is what builds energy and builds consistency, and then the body can rely on that, because everything else is kind of like it's at a whim. Things will happen, things won't. So the consistency from the routine, the daily routine, which is drinking water, meditating a little bit, praying, doing a little bit of exercise, drinking one of these. I got a river that's about 200 feet in front of me right now, and I've been going in that every morning. That's been pretty cool, especially when it's gotten cold, like really cold. Last weekend it was in the teens, and with the wind chill it was down in the single digits. And went in the river last week, and that you really see what's really been amazing to me is how weak our minds. Well, I speak for myself. How weak my mind is. The moment something is difficult or challenging, it's the time when you wanna quit. So the ritual or the daily routine that I do really creates that strength to which I draw upon, that I could really go into my day. When I have that routine, when I do that consistent routine in the morning, then the day's real solid. I feel real good. I got momentum going into the day, and that's awesome. So I won't continue blabbering on for forever, but there was a question I got from, it's not really a question, Judy Carlisle made a statement on one of my videos the other day regarding, it was a live Q&A that I did. It was around avoiding knee surgery, bone on bone, Baker's cyst, and arthritis. And Judy has a Baker's cyst. It looks like, and here's what she comments. I have a very big Baker's cyst. Doctor has taken fluid out of it 5 times. No infection, so he wants me to see if it will burst. I drink lots of water all day and eat well, but it is very painful, so it is hard to do my daily chores. And which makes total sense. You got this big thing in the back of your knee. A Baker's cyst generally forms in back of the knee, slightly below the knee joint. And how they form, there is both a physical dysfunction, like the bones. You have the bone in the upper leg and the bone in the lower leg. And what happens is the bone in the upper leg slides slightly forward of the bone in the lower leg. So you can imagine if you're going down the steps, and you take one step kind of funny, so the leg kind of locks a little bit, and you feel that little shift in your knee joint. It'd also be like if you're running down a basketball court or a football field, soccer field, whatever it is, and you stop real quick, the lower parts of the body aren't nearly as big as the upper parts of the body. So what happens is the bones in the lower leg stop a little bit, and there's a slight shifting forward of the femur, which is the bone in the upper leg. And that little bit of shift that takes place in relationship to those two bones starts to push out, and that'll get tender behind the knee. And that's the beginning of a Baker cyst. How this affects the body and then develops into a Baker cyst is now you have this mechanical dysfunction. The bones aren't lined up correctly, for lack of a better term, and it's causing a little bit of pain behind the knee joint. What happens, though, is that has an effect on the lymphatic system. Now, the lymphatic system is the pump. It's like the garbage collector. So it pushes all the waste products out of your body. And when we have this little bit of a misalignment, or the bones in the upper leg, the bone in the upper leg and the bones in the lower leg aren't lined up correctly, what ends up happening is, and it's not going to show up on an x-ray, a CT scan, or an MRI as that big of a deal. There's nothing wrong with the knee. You just have this slight misalignment that causes a little bit of discomfort. So technically the doctors aren't going to be able to do anything until, because the lymphatic system is backed up and because the pelvis is the pump of the entire lymphatic system, what happens is when you have this movement that's supposed to take place through the lower part of your leg that is cleaning out the garbage, and now you have this kink, kind of like a kink in a garden hose, that doesn't allow the lymph system to flush itself out. So this pressure that's built up in the back of the knee now starts building up more pressure because the fluid isn't able to get through there. So the bone is slightly in the way, the tension in the knee is slightly restricting the movement of the lymph through the leg, and it slows down this pumping motion. Well, that builds up. That pressure builds up and develops what is known as a Baker cyst. So the key to begin to reverse this process is to get the pressure off of what's going on, this tension pattern that the knee has taken on to protect itself because of, you stumbled, you went down the steps wrong, you tried to catch yourself, you stopped on the basketball court, soccer field, football field, whatever it was, that you stopped real quick and the body wasn't quite ready for it. It snapped on, or it took this picture and held on to this pattern that is not allowing your lymphatic system to flush itself out. So this Baker cyst is now forming, and the doctors are going to go in with a needle and they're going to extract the fluid out of the Baker cyst. Well, just because you extract the fluid doesn't mean you address the underlying pattern that was causing the Baker cyst to form to begin with. So what happens is, shortly after they drain the Baker cyst fills up again. Sometimes if the Baker cyst goes long enough and it starts to dry out, it gets hard. And then it's a hard cyst that needs surgery to have it removed. So they go in there and they snip out this part of your lymphatic system that wasn't draining properly, and now the Baker cyst is removed. In neither of those situations where the doctor drains the needle, or uses the needle to drain the fluid, or they remove the cyst, sometimes they'll cut the cyst open and drain it that way. Neither of those options from the medical approach is addressing the underlying pattern that's going on in the knee that created the Baker cyst to begin with. So this is really important. Like, if you want short-term solution, absolutely. Get the needle and drain it, have them slice the Baker cyst open and drain it, have the Baker cyst removed. But if you're looking for a long-term solution that is going to provide sustainability and longevity of your joint, that's not it. You have to look at something new, something different, something that understands your body on a deeper level. And how I address that, how my program addressed that, is with what I refer to as pain pattern interrupts. Now, pain pattern interrupts are going to exaggerate the pattern that's going on in the knee, that's causing the Baker cyst to form, that's causing that tension pattern in the knee, that's causing the pain. So if we could create a pain pattern interrupt that is going to get a little bit of space around the nerves in the knee that are being irritated, that are manifesting or forming this Baker cyst, then what happens is that little bit of pressure relaxes the joint. Getting the pressure off of the nerve relaxes the joint. When you relax the joint, there's more space that's created in the joint. It's also comfortable for the joint. When the joint is comfortable, it creates more space. So the more space that we create in the joint, now what happens? We were talking about a tension pattern that is a restricting movement or flow of the lymph system through your knee, through the back of the knee. And now we've created space, allowing the joint to relax. Now there's a whole bunch of other neurological systems that are being affected when we create a pain pattern interrupt that we don't need to go into on the video. However, what's happening is it's shifting the pattern of the tension that's in your knee. Essentially, we're unkinking the garden hose, and that sets up the conditions so now the Baker cyst can drain on its own because the joint is going back to the place that it wants to be, which is comfortable. Now, of course, there's other things that go into it. We got to make sure we're drinking plenty of water. We got to make sure we're eating good food, because if we're not eating good food, it's creates like goop, you know, for lack of a better term. If we're eating a lot of sugar and processed foods and foods that our body really doesn't know what to do with, it's going to get stuck in there. So we need more space in order for the body to flush that out. So if we eat good, local, organic foods, healthy foods that our body knows what to do with, that it's going to help heal the knee, we drink plenty of good water that's going to help the body flush itself out. What happens is we've created the space in the joint so the knee can flush the joint out, or the body can flush the knee joint out. And what we're doing is we're also giving the body the resources it needs to heal whatever damage that's been created from the Baker cyst, from the tension pattern that's going on. And many times people that have Baker cyst also are dealing with other issues like arthritis or other conditions in the knee that make the knee joint painful as well. So we have to look at like this holistic approach in terms of getting the conditions set up so now your body's going to be able to heal what's going on in the knee. That's what I have to offer as far as Baker cyst. And this is only like, you know, just a little perspective I have on as far as dealing with knee pain. I've been doing this for 18 years since I blew out my own knee and had reconstructive ligament surgery on my left knee and the meniscus, you know, 2 pieces of meniscus taken out and the whole 9 yards. So if you have questions, this is going to be posted on Facebook. If you have questions, go down below this video, type the questions in the comments section, share it with your friends. You know, as somebody that's limping around with knee pain, that, you know, they're like, oh, there's nothing I can do. I've tried everything. Tell them about me. Pass along my information to them. Share my Facebook page, The Knee Pain Guru. You can also go to my website, thekneepainguru.com. I got a lot of resources there that'll be helpful for you. I'm on Twitter and what else? YouTube. You can check me out there as well. I got a lot of resources to help you with your knee pain. So I am Bill Paravano, the Knee Pain Guru, going to sign off for today. Have a wonderful rest of the day. Make it good, especially without knee pain. Enjoy.